For all the EU viewers, Gamivo.com is providing 1 month of game time randomly chosen next week. All you need to do is click the link in the description and add to your comment #GamivoGameTime. Good luck. The most badass fighters across the lands, Witchers are mutated warriors with extraordinary agility, strength and skill built to slay monsters. But seeing as the Warcraft universe is filled with monsters, and some of them on a much larger scale than what they're used to, how well would a legendary Witcher like Geralt of Rivia perform in the Warcraft universe? Long ago, when the humans began spreading across the continent, the monsters that arrived with the conjunction were a serious problem. Much stronger, more powerful, and in most cases aggressive, they posed a significant threat to the humans. In order to combat this, an elite caste of warrior monks were created with only one purpose: to slay monsters. Many different schools started, all with their own specific purposes, but the overall principle was the same. Young apprentices were gathered, they underwent a trial of the grasses that was incredibly painful and dangerous, with only a small portion of the participants surviving. If they did survive, however, they would almost become a different species. Gaining cat-like eyes, they were able to see in the dark. Their superhuman reflexes and speed allowed them incredible agility and strength, and with the help of the sorcerers, they were able to utilize magic in the form of science. Furthermore, they're also able to consume incredibly potent and powerful potions that would kill a regular human, and they spent most of their time training how to fight and intensively studying all the monsters within the lands, closely examining their strengths and weaknesses. As the time went on and the centuries passed, the monsters became a significant rare occurrence, and the most Witcher schools were either disbanded, destroyed, or just went extinct. In the current timeline, Geralt of Rivia is one of the few remaining Witchers employed to fight both monsters and humans, constantly getting involved in all sorts of problems, possessing incredible skill and a whole lot of experience. On the other hand, Warcraft is a completely different universe. The history is much longer, threats much larger, and with beings like the Titans or the Legion, magic much more powerful. There are so many different ways you can fight within the Warcraft universe, not only with magic but also with technology. While Witcher mainly has a medieval theme, in Warcraft it is to a much less significant extent, as we often see powerful rifles, planes, helicopters, and even trans-dimensional spaceships. The closest we have to the Witcher class are the Demon Hunters. Very similar in many regards. They undergo an extremely dangerous ritual that is significantly altered, gaining superhuman reflexes, speed, and overall senses. Just as how the Witchers are built and they study how to fight monsters, Demon Hunters are the same, just in regards to demons, as they study to fight against the Burning Legion. They also utilize magic to a limited extent. Nonetheless, I do believe that a Demon Hunter is more powerful because fell magic and demons overall are much more potent than what is available within the Witcher universe. Another very similar class to the Witcher is something between a warrior and a rogue, although both could work. Essentially, one of these just with superhuman abilities. In-game, all of these have a lot of abilities, but lore-wise, a Witcher with magic actually has more abilities than a rogue or a warrior from Warcraft lore. A big point of this discussion is whether Geralt would be a natural part of Warcraft or just someone that was summoned here all of a sudden. If he appeared just out of nowhere, he would be significantly weakened. First of all, Witchers use herbs, oils, and silver swords, as well as their knowledge based on the creatures in their world, so many of these would be completely useless on Azeroth. With Geralt in particular, this would be a big problem, as what makes him stand out from other Witchers is that he is nearly a century old, and he has a ton of experience that would barely be an advantage. On the other hand though, I can totally see Witchers being an organic part of Azeroth and fitting into WoW lore, although that can be a discussion and a video in itself. Now, there are skills that translate very well and could be very effective. First of all, sword skills. In Warcraft, melee is a really big deal, and we have seen some rogues and warriors beating demigods, and with Geralt's sword skills and experience fighting massive monsters, I can totally see him taking on an orc, a tauren, or even a small-scale demon. His potions would also be useful, mainly the ones that affect his skills and not really the enemy. Lastly, magic and science. I don't know how well his science or magic would work on Azeroth or whether he can actually utilize Warcraft magic, but let's say that exactly the same as he has previously used. Science like Quen would be amazing for blocking and it would be highly effective in combat, as well as art to push back the enemy, but generally all of them could be useful in any combat scenario. There was a part of Witcher 3 where Geralt and his companions faced an invasion from the Wild Hunt, which, even though was a part of their universe, was still alien to their world, but they did manage to be quite useful. Not really the best comparison, but a good show of how his sword skills and science could be useful against creatures that he has never really fought or has seen before. Now, on the other side, a big change to Geralt's environment would be the fact that he would no longer be considered a mutant. Really, with so many diverse races and creatures of the Warcraft universe, where you have cow-like creatures like the Tauren, within a human society, he would be considered more than normal. At least much more normal than a demon hunter that literally took out his eyes to be able to see demons better. So, a Witcher could definitely survive and, in my opinion, thrive on Azeroth. Sure, his years of study and much of his experience has gone to waste, but now that he has arrived, nothing is stopping him from utilizing the magics of the Warcraft universe and making himself stronger in that case. Now, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to learn Arcane, for example, or utilize some goblin or gnome gadgets, or even get his sword enchanted and just get used to the alchemy of Azeroth. Unfortunately, unless there is some crazy collaboration or a mod, I don't really think we will ever see Geralt arriving to the Warcraft universe. However, if you guys would like to get Witcher in Warcraft, my suggestion would be just to create a grey-haired human, learn alchemy, specialize in arms, using a sword. Now, as there isn't much you can do in regards to science and magic as a warrior, either toys could work or just general roleplay. Nonetheless, who wouldn't really want to see Geralt fighting against a burning Legion? Thank you for watching. Check out what is the most powerful magic in WoW by clicking on the screen, and check out the second channel, Dorons Academy, for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.